Hey, welcome. Today I wanted to talk to you about Langchain and how you can get started with this framework and potentially use it to build AI automations. This is going to cover just really the basics of Langchain, and then in a future video we'll get more into some more in-depth examples. Alright, so the biggest thing that you want to know about this, which kind of tripped me up the first time I was looking at some Langchain examples, is really this thing known as Langchain Expression Language. And essentially what this is going to look like is very similar to if you've ever used like a Unix command prompt environment like the bash shell, where essentially you're going to declare an object and then you're going to basically chain the object to the next object by using the pipe command between the objects. So basically the output of one object is going to become the input of the next object, via this pipe command. So really similar to kind of like bash chaining commands together with their standard output going to the next command standard input. This just kind of threw me for a loop for a minute the first time I looked at someone's code because I didn't really see this implemented in Python code before. But once you understand that idea, then the rest of it kind of falls into place pretty quickly. Okay, so these objects are otherwise known as runnables. They come in a lot of different types, and there's a lot of different ways that they can be invoked. So there's going to be like a prompt object, there's going to be like an LLM object, there's going to be tool objects, and there's going to be output parsing objects, which are all going to help us chain together the flow, right? That's why they call it Langchain, that we want to build with our logic when we're working with AI and LLM type systems. Now, one of the biggest benefits of using Langchain is that you can build a prototype really quickly that'll run on your laptop, and then you can take that same code and without many changes, scale it into production. The reason for this is, basically any call that there is, there's also an async version of the call. So typically you just append the letter A before the call, and then you get the async version of the call. Also, there's like batching and parallelism and streaming options. There's also fallback options. So if your first LLM of choice doesn't work, you can fall back to something else. So there's a lot of, and there's like enterprise logging integrated with Langtrace. So there's a lot of great features here if you want to take something, quickly develop something as a proof of concept and then get it into your production code and scale it as quick as possible. Okay, here's a really quick example. I'm just going to walk you through. So at the top, we're going to import the chat prompt template, and that's really going to have our prompt that we're going to send to the LLM. Then we're going to import the OpenAI object because we're going to send the request to the OpenAI's APIs to get a response. I believe in this one, we're going to be using the GPT-4o model, but any model that supports, tool calling and those type of features are going to be pretty much the same, right? And then we're going to import a string output parser that's just going to take whatever response we're getting from the LLM, convert it to a string, and give us that back to the screen via a print statement. Okay, so we see we're importing the prompt from the template. We have one variable in there known as the topic. And so we'll need to set that topic before we go to invoke the chain. You can see below that the topic we're setting is that of phishing. We want to know more about what a phishing attack is. And you can see here we have chain.invoke. If we wanted to do the async version of that call, we could do chain.ainvoke. So you can see there's like an async version of pretty much all the calls. Okay, and then after we establish the prompt, we're going to go ahead and set up the LLM model, which in this case is just OpenAI, GPT-4o model, so pretty standard. And then we're going to set up the output parser, which is going to be that string parser. So it's going to take the response from OpenAI and convert it into a string, and then that'll be easy for us to print it back out to the user via standard out. And that's really all there is to like a very simple Langchain example. Now you can see as you get more and more of these objects or runnables, and as you start to chain them together in more and more complex ways, that this can get really powerful really fast, right? You can build, really cool chains without having to build a lot of complex code. Okay, so let's just look at that example from our IDE. Here we're using Cursor. You can see it's pretty much the same code as above. And then we're just going to go ahead and run the application. It's going to go down that chain, starting with the prompt, completing the variable in the template, then sending the request to OpenAI, getting the response back, and then formatting it as a string and printing it out to the screen here. You can see the answer about what is phishing. Okay, great. All right, that's all I got for you today. I got some more great content coming up for you that I've been cooking in the kitchen here, and I'm going to get it out to you shortly. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment about what other type of research or things you want to see me cover here. Yeah, I've been cooking up some new codes. Can't wait to show you, and I really appreciate you taking time to tune in. As I work hard each day to hopefully bring you guys something that you can chew on while you're trying to be on your journey to learn how to use AI agents better in cybersecurity operations. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.